1. Unity, Now and Beyond, by Medusa DB Loveheart, Part 2. There is not one single human that are the same, even identical twins has differences. Why isn't that reflected in our normality norm today? The way things are today, it doesn't work for the future. It's an old and outdated world we live in. It doesn't matter what color of the skin we have or what origin we have. We are all an equal opportunity of life. The world today cannot support that fact. It's impossible for the world of today to take care of that fact. We have billions of opportunities of people today, and yet there is only a fraction that get it to its full extent. It's a minority that can contribute to today's world. Where is the logic in that? It's much better if we have almost 8 billion people contributing to the planet of today. We are seriously cripple our existence and evolution the way we live today. We are losing vastly opportunities and possibilities by the way we live today, where only a few are contributing to this world's progress when we could have an army of brilliant minds that did their best to bring our planet further. We have today reached a point where our evolution is at its peak. We have started to see our planet as a whole. We have lived through world wars and matured a lot. It's time we realize we are species number one on this planet, and with that comes a major responsibility. We are now in a position where we can start to take care of this planet and its future. We are in a position where we must start to take care of ourselves. We have come to a time when it's time for us to become a higher form of civilization. We have nothing to gain from living in a world where the majority of the planet lives in wretched poverty and misery. There is no benefit or logical reason for us to have it like this. We have reached a point when we could change all this and take care of all the areas of this planet to bring countries in poverty to an equal high standard as the rest of us. And it wouldn't be hard if all of us dug in and made it happen. Today we have the opportunity to make sure that every country can live with high standards and high education if we just wake up and see the truth. But instead, we live in a hypocrisy where we expect countries that live in poverty to raise on their own and start get educated when there is no money or resources to do that for the country where they live with civil wars and no democracy. We fail miserably to live up to the alpha race we are today. The financial ecosystem of today cripple us in so many ways it's outrageous. There is no longer a reason for us to have money as the financial ecosystem. We must wake up and unite and start building up the weakest link, always making sure we are as strong as possible as a whole. Today we are weak. We live in poverty of progress for the entire planet. Money makes us blind for the true meaning of power where we all work together as one and simultaneously strive to achieve a better tomorrow. There is no problem for us to build up the infrastructure of all the countries when we leave money out of the picture. It's quite easy if you think about it. This is like lotto. Do you rather play a few lines hoping to score the jackpot, or do you play millions of lines in order to increase the chances to win the jackpot? Well, it's exactly the same with this planet. Would you rather have a few 100,000 trying to evolve and bring this planet further, or do you see almost 8 billion people doing the same thing? The chance for us to come up with new solutions and making new progress increase amazingly much by living as one planet. Okay, not 8 billion people would do the evolving, but at least a billion, and that's an extreme improvement of life standards than today. It's a fact the financial ecosystem of money could not support that, but with time as currency we can. Money is part of the problem, not the solution. With money as the financial ecosystem, the poverty will remain and grow as the population grows, and it grows much faster now. There is no way for this ecosystem to keep up. We will never achieve true equality with money as our engine. Peace is the true engine with much greater power than war. By building up the weakest link all the time, by providing infrastructure and put an educational ecosystem in place, and provide with teachers and creating responsibilities of reproducible recourses for them and help them out in any way possible. When they are up and running, we leave them be and move on to the next weakest link and do the same thing there. We just keep doing that, and by this way we are creating a never-ending spiral upwards. Eventually the entire world will be a work in progress, a never-ending project that will bring meaning to us all. To bring this planet further and to protect and caretake this planet for as long as possible. All this is possible if we just wake up and see the truth as it is. That's the true power of learning to say, we are. In this world venture, it doesn't matter how the financial status is of the country that joins it. This venture is for the future, and everyone is welcome to join it. It will only be for a while. We use the new common currency of money in order to reach time as currency. We will have the money currency in use as long as the world is divided between the new world and the old world. If the country is underdeveloped, it doesn't matter because we would build that country up when times come. At first, in the beginning, we would make sure the bare necessities would be in place for the country to participate in all that's happening, but when time comes, and time is the financial ecosystem, we would bring that country up to standard with all what that it means. We will always focus on the weakest link and make that stronger. Eventually, we will all be equal in our existence, and the weakest link will be about minor updates. Now the entire world work together as one and we update the planet over and over again. It will take a while to get everyone up and running, but it's not a problem because we have now taken the vital step that needs to be taken. It will be a few years of preparation when the final decision is done to create the new world. I know I said we should wait with deciding the new world language, but maybe that's not possible because we need to get new educational literature made for every zone, and we need to prepare our entire financial structure with a new system that can handle both money and time. We need to prepare the political system so that proper education is in place. Our first ambassadors won't be as educated as our coming ones. That doesn't mean they won't know what they are doing because they will know for sure. In the beginning, it will all be new to us, and it will take a while for things to get in place. The first progress of choosing currency and financial ecosystem for the years to come will happen quite soon, but to get it in place will take a while. And that period will be something out of a honeymoon for us to get into the new world order. We will familiarize the new political behavior and get comfortable with how easy it will be to vote. A lot of translators will be needed in the beginning in order to reach out to all the world, but that will fade in time with the new world language growing and becoming a natural way to communicate. It will be hardest for the generations of today because there will be a lot of adjustments, but don't forget this evolutionary step isn't just for us. It's more for the sake of the future and the coming generations that will grow up with it as a normality. But it won't just be pain for the people of today. Remember, we have all the recourses we need to make this happen, and it will have a fast-paced. Lots of new education will come to hand, and there will be tons of media that aids us in learning the new language if we must do that. There will be a lot of planning and research to do to manage the new planet and all its resources. It will be a busy time for sure, and we will all get involved sooner or later. We don't have to worry though because we don't have to rush anything, but we should take the time needed so we get everything right and we can always adjust things that needs to be adjusted afterwards. We live and exist just as much when we are retired and child. We have the same needs and feelings when we are old and young. Yet those two groups are neglected majorly, and life quality isn't good at all for them, especially old people. What kind of way is that to thank them for a hard-working life providing for our planet and future? With money as financial ecosystem, we cut down on those two groups in order to save money. What kind of world is that? As if you're not worth the same when old or young. It's like your life is worthless when you get too old. Just look at the world of money and isn't very hard to see it isn't working. When we lived our life working all the time and raised children for tomorrow, done our fair share of living, then we should be treated with dignity and respect and not like some garbage that isn't worth anything. We can't take care of the old and the young with today's financial ecosystem of money. Same goes for healthcare. We cut down on staff in order to save money. What kind of thinking is that? What kind of world are we living in? Are we not supposed to be able to take care of the ill and the sick? Just stop and think for a while. Have a look around you. There is so much that isn't working because of the financial ecosystem of money. It's unbelievable. In some countries, the medical costs for a private person are so high they can't afford to get ill. It would ruin their life completely. Or medicine costs so much that normal people can't afford to treat their illness. Is that really the way it should be? All over the world, companies make budget cuts in order to make more money, to make more profit, and the first thing they cut is staff. And why do they need to make more profit? It doesn't help anyone, but make a few ones richer instead of having a blooming and thriving business. Money creates a bad mentality and bad progress of this world. Money was good once upon a time. Even if it never has been successful in creating equality, it was still necessary, but now it has served its purpose and are obsolete. Money has made this world unfair from the beginning of its existence. It has never been its purpose to create balance and harmony in the world. We only need one law that will cover us all. We are all the same species, and we need to strengthen our unity. We live in different worlds as it is today with different laws in each country. The way we live today, we support gaps between countries and make them larger by not trying to achieve unity. Even though we are all the same in the base, we are all humans. Laws should reflect the truth about humans and support its possibilities. We need laws that untie and strengthen us instead of breaking us up. We can't have different laws for different group of people. We are all the same and we are sexual by nature. We need to have laws that represent the true human nature and have the same law for all of us. We need to strengthen our unity, and it should be reflected through all our society. The law should be alive and pulsating and always reflect where we are in our evolution. The law could differ a little from continent to continent in order for us to have a varying landscape but no big differences, so we don't lose contact with each other. The law should serve our evolution as purpose and should always be in favor for us to move forward. We need strict nature laws making sure we preserve and maintain nature and always make it flourish and bloom. The laws should be for maintaining the great diversity in nature and always be in favor of different ways of maintaining nature as diverse as possible. The foundation of the law should protect the diverse nature in our existence as it is and always be in favor of life itself. The law should be very strict on pollution. There should be no tolerance for pollution whatsoever. The situation has changed now. We live in a world with no money, and we can put our resources in keeping the world free from pollution. We can invest in electricity in a completely new way and make a pollution-free world a priority. It's an investment that will cost time, and it's only in the beginning it will be a lot of investment in it. In time, everything will already be pollution-free, and the environment will be healthier than ever. This world we are talking about now will have the chance to make the world survive humanity and flourish with us in it. This new world is a complete game changer and will give us possibilities we will never have in the world of today. The law will reflect our true devotion to our nature and Mother Earth. We will become true caretakers of Mother Earth. The law will be thoroughly defined for the quota system in place, making sure it always is up to date and in balance with the current situation, making sure we always have good balance in our resources and environment. The law should protect our existence as a whole, not just us humans but also the nature we require in this planet. And it won't stop there. We will have laws for how to manage other planets and how we utilize them for our coexistence and future evolution. The law will expand as we reach further and further out in space. Crime will go down in the new world because there is enough for everyone, and there won't be any unjust factors in our existential existence. There will be more than enough for us all, and we can start focusing on more important things in our lives and our progress. The laws are still necessary for us in order to keep everything in place and to guide and aid us in our ever-moving forward evolution. We must explore and learn everything there is about DNA and organism structure, not just humans but all nature. We will learn everything there is about our internal defense system and our immune system. We will develop new cures that can cure whatever the future throw upon us. It's time to see the real truth about ourselves. It's time we wake up and see the truth about our evolution. To start, take the real responsibility we actually have. We are our own creators. We have created ourselves from the beginning of our existence. No one has helped us out. No God, no alien. We are responsible for our own existence and everything it brings with it. We have lived of this planet as if it has no limit. We know that that's not the truth. We can't continue living like we do today if this planet shall have a chance to survive with us on it. Today we are destroying and using up nature in an ever faster growing pace. Animals are going extinct, and we do nothing about it. We just let nature die, and our flora of animal is growing thinner in a faster and faster tempo every day. There are attempts to regrow nature in some parts of the world, but that's not even close to enough for our nature to survive when the larger part of the world just simply doesn't care about it. Some vague attempts to protect animals near extinction, but that too is not enough. Thousands and thousands of animals has gone extinct, and we just let it happen. We don't take any responsibility over animal life or nature whatsoever. Our oceans are so polluted that water life gone dead completely in big areas, and we just let it happen. The way we live today will lead to our complete extinction, with this planet depleted and ruined completely with no life left to live on it. We must make a choice here. The way our population is growing, we won't be able to handle life the way we have done for several thousands of years. Our fast-growing population will lead to less and less jobs and a harsher nature consumption. In order for us to exist with 15, 20, and even more billions of people, we must make a choice here. The choice we have to make is to choose to continue to exist, not just today and tomorrow, but for eternity into infinity. We must take a final stand and we must make a major change in our existence today, and this is the way to do it. This is the way to choose to exist together with this planet for as long as possible, long enough for us to take many steps enough for us to become journeymen of space with all life and nature from this planet preserved with us. We have to create a bigger purpose for us so that we can aim and plan what steps to take and to know why we are doing it, not like it is today when we aim aimlessly and have no idea where we are heading. We must create visions of greater existence and advanced living. So, we all know what to do next and why we are doing things in the first place. By knowing why and where we are heading, more people will see the big picture, and everyone will be able to do their part of the journey. We will from time to time all work as one, doing everything we can for us to take many steps enough in order to reach our next step in our evolution. This is only possible in the new world. By having a bigger goal and a bigger picture, we will unite everyone, and our coexistence will be founded on our true roots. We are all humans from planet Earth. We will have great visions of our existence, and we will maintain goals bigger than just our near future. We will aim to exist for eternity into infinity, and that's a very long time. By having these great goals, we will create reason for our everyday behaviors, and our mentality will be reflected in the way we vision ourselves as creatures. We will no longer be destructive in our foundation, but carry a great responsibility with our everyday life. We will inspire to progress and unity, to a greater life where we all are truly equal. It's time to put today's religions into history and all unite under a common understanding. The religion is a great step in human evolution, but in the long run they cause more damage than do good, and are reason for our fragmented existence as it is today with so many minorities created by religions. Religions hold us back in our evolutionary progress, and they are narrow-minded and prevent us from continue our evolution progress in the future. Basically, they are just filling out answers to questions we don't really have answers to. They both explain how we all come to exist and a greater power that we will get in touch with when we die. They are both the same, just different versions. They have played their part and should be passed on to mythology. We should always remember them and keep the good parts from them. But we don't need blind faith in a God that does not exist. We are our own gods, and we need to take the responsibility of that and take control of our future. Religion has created more hate and war among ourselves than any other factor of our existence has. It's not good for our future. We need to stop feeling sorry for ourselves and step up and make this difference happen. This is not for ourselves. We are making this choice. It's for human mankind and Mother Earth's existence in eternity into infinity. It's so much greater than a religion from the old world. The choice is for our kids, and their kids, and so on for eternity into infinity. You have a chance to be greater than anybody else ever has been. This is the greatest step in this planet's existence. We stand before a choice, and the choice is to continue to exist or not. If not, everything will have been in vain. Everything will be meaningless, and even the religions would have been for nothing. It's a very selfish way we live today where we think about nothing else but ourselves. We don't have generational thinking in our system whatsoever. We don't care about our children or their children. We only see as far as our nose reaches. We will end this planet the way we live today, and that's a fact, and no one cares about it. We live so unresponsible lives today, it's really scary. This planet will grow in population beyond 15 and 20 billion people, and we can't handle that the way we live today or the way the world picture is today. It's doomed to fail miserably. In order to handle the complicated problems that the future holds before us, the world has no other choice but to unite and work together as one. In order to not deplete this planet on all its resources prematurely, we need to have a united and controlled way of using renewable resources in a manner that gives us space to evolve. When we are 20 billion people, we need to manage the planet as a whole. We can't have it like it is today, where people around the world just consumes with no thought about tomorrow. When we are one planet and one nation, we can manage everything in a completely new way. We can make sure 60% of the planet is natural wildlife all the time, and 20% is set aside for production of food in all its flavors, and 10% for extracting resources of all kinds with focus on renewable resources. And the last 10% is for us to expand and grow in size of population. The numbers are just an example and should always be adjusted to our population and this planet well-being. It should always be enough food for us to have more than enough for each and everyone at all times. By managing Earth this way, we will be able to handle the problems of tomorrow, and we will have a healthy planet that will last much longer than it will today. The planet will survive with us on it. By managing planets, we will become not just this planet caretaker but universe caretakers. We will make sure nature has its natural causes on both planets and in universe itself. But this planet has its limits, and static resources will eventually deplete. The more we grow in population, the tighter we will have to manage static resources. Our job is to make sure the static resources last long enough for us to take the next step in evolution. We must start mining static resources on other planets so that this planet resources are left as untouched as possible. Some dead planets will be purely for mining resources, and others for us to start new colonies and populate them in order to bring life further. We have a time frame here. A time frame that decides we must evolve much enough to be able to start journey in space seriously and have advanced technology enough for us to make us great at it. The time frame is when we reach a stage where this planet can't hold more population as well as the availability of static resources. We must make this choice soon in order for us to stand a chance to this challenge. The selfish way we have been living for thousands of years has come to an end, and it's time we learn to say, we are for real. We must learn and explore everything that has to do with our planet's ecosystem and all about its diversity that is empowering this planet. We must gather all DNA from nature and learn and understand everything there is to it. We must know everything about nature's DNA and how to use it in order to be able to maintain nature and to bring it further. We will help out nature to maintain its diversity and repopulate the species that are close to extinction. We will keep banks of DNA from all species and nature vegetation so that we can reproduce it if any gets near extinction, and also research it to know what vegetation works best in what conditions and help relocating vegetation when climate is changing in areas so that we always have the best conditions for our vegetation. We will also need to understand which vegetation is best suited for different atmospheres on other planets so that we create the best possibilities to create new life on those planets. We will also learn how to create completely new vegetation and explore and learn what attributes we can benefit from. This is necessary for us in the future when we start populating other planets in order to adjust vegetation to the new conditions of that specific planet's atmosphere. We will become creators and maintainers of life, and it's all a natural step in our evolution. By doing this, we will expand our flora of natural resources, and we will find new substances that will aid us in both medical and other fields. We will create huge databases where all the data about DNA is stored and used for research and progress of our never-ending evolution. Whenever we reach a new system with new planets, we will collect all the information there is about it and all DNA in order to explore and learn about the newfound conditions we stumbled upon. We have the entire universe to explore and discover, and we haven't even started it yet. Our existence will have so much to discover it's hard to put words on it. Universe is infinite and never-ending. It is so huge it's enough for humanity for eternity into infinity to explore and discover. Our existence here on this planet will just be a blip in our timeline when we make the choice to exist in eternity into infinity. The different faiths and bad mentalities we had up till today will seem ridiculous in comparison to what we have achieved in the future. We are just children in the eye of existence timeline, and we have not even started to live as the superior species we actually are, because we are the superior species on this planet, and with that comes a major responsibility towards all life on this planet. A role we must step up and grow into, and that's fast. Today we lose thousands of species that goes extinct so far, and we don't do anything about it. It's so incredibly unresponsible of us to act that way. We lost massive amount of diversity and opportunities in our existence because of that. Our diverse flora is shrinking, and that's fast. We can't have it like that anymore. We can't afford to lose more species. We need everything we can get for our future to come. Any species can contain the key to solve a future dilemma that we run into. We can't afford to lose any more precious life form with its unique DNA patterns and biology that could help us out in the future. We have to maintain as diverse flora as possible because every little life form counts, no matter how small or insignificant it might seem today. Every life form plays its own role in this amazing wheel of life. You never know what the future will reveal for us, and that's the exciting part of it all. We have no idea of how advanced we will become. We only know it's all there for us to discover. Biological technology will be a growing factor for us. We will learn how to utilize biology for technical enhancements and for any kind of technological area. Our biological tissue is far more advanced than any static matter we use in technology today. We will advance from simple things to more advanced robots that will aid us in everyday matters. And then we will be able to produce biological limbs that will replace the prosthetic we have today. We will have a new developing branch that will program biological means and advanced DNA programming. We must learn everything about the signal system in our biological bodies so we can interact and aid when needed. Biological programming is about understanding the nerve system and the different organs that are inside us. To be able to interact with the nerve signal system and to be able to communicate with the nerves and the brain. We will grow organs for donation to people that need a transplant. The way organ donation works too is absurd. It's a lottery if someone gets an organ or not, and when it's vital, it's more often not possible to get an organ. The right person must die in order for us to get an organ the way it is today. It's horrendous the way it is today. Today there is a long waiting list for people to get their organ. They are waiting for the right one to die or someone else that is the right match sacrificing their healthy body's organ to them at a high price. We can't have it like that. It's obscure. We will create banks with organs off all different blood types so everyone can get their organ when they really need it. We will grow organs from DNA and make sure there is always enough to everyone. No one should have to win the lottery in order to get a transplant done with the correct organ. We can't let old, narrow-minded mentalities stand in our way for progression. We must be able to help everyone, not just humans, but animals and nature too. The organ transplant system we have today is cruel, unjust, and simply horrific the way it works now. The system is outdated and malfunctioning. Many people die just because we have a system that does not work as it should. We must make way for the new world and let us take control over our own future. We will have biological limbs for people who lost a hand or had to amputate a leg. We will move the medical field into the future where we no longer restrain ourselves from evolving and make progress in any area. We are our own true creators, and we are our own gods. As I said before, we have created ourselves since the beginning of our existence. We have created something out of nothing over and over again. We are our own reason to all the technology and science we have today. We must respect that we are our own gods and take responsibility thereafter. We must let go of old narrow-minded structure and embrace our true purpose and our true nature. We have to explore everything. The brain is an amazing processor. It executes billions of processes at the same time and can store more information than any physical device can today. We have to learn everything there is about the brain and its magical functions. Not only humans, but animals too. We will come to a point where we have biological computers that can handle massive number of processes and information at the same time. We must master the programming language that brains code, and so we can operate with them in far greater calibrations. In the future, we will be able to connect to a master database and download whatever knowledge we need to know into our brains. We will raise our awareness to new heights. We will be able to cure conditions just by inserting brain code into the brain. Education will be done by programs synced to your brain. We can learn all the languages we want just by adjusting the brain. We will focus more on the practical and become really good in everything we do. This might sound scary to you, but it's not. Everything will happen by nature if we make the choice to continue to exist. But don't worry, it won't happen all at once. We do this one step at a time. So we always take many steps enough in order for us to reach the next step in our evolution. Some will happen not too far away in time, while other things are way ahead into the future. Now, if and when this will happen, there is only one answer to. It's up to us to make that decision. We must make the choice to continue to exist in eternity into infinity. Everything you have ever seen on the movie screen or read in a book about the future with all kinds of evolutionary progress is there for us to discover. Teleportation, invisibility, immortality, psychic powers, or you name it. It's all there in our future evolution, and it's all there to discover. There is so much more than that. Our imagination will define what paths we take and what we will reveal in the future. This is how we have created ourselves for thousands of years, by our ability to imagine things to reach for. It's only a question about time. Time is the only true currency we can have. We have the possibility to have the most amazing future you could ever imagine by choosing to exist in eternity into infinity. Today's values mean nothing in comparison to what we will have in the future. Everything is there for us to discover. There is no such thing as impossible. What's not possible today is tomorrow's everyday life. The future beholds so many amazing wonders and opportunities that today's world picture seems pretty dull and malfunctioning. It's not really a hard choice to make. We have eternity into infinity to exist and all the wonders that we will discover. It's not really a big deal the change we have to go through now. But we still must make the choice and make it happen because the world of today will miss it out and will perish. Now, you won't live to see all that, but you will part of the most important step we take in human history. This is not the time to let old narrow-minded mentalities and old religious views say what's correct and what's incorrect. It's time to be the bigger person that takes a responsible decision and makes this happen. This is for our future, for our generations to come. Life will become much better for you. And you will still experience some pretty cool stuff, but that's not the important part. Politicians will utilize opposite thinking, a methodology that is used to create a road for you to walk in order to reach a goal. You use 3 upside-down trees where the first tree is where you are today with all the different possibilities you have now and what you already know, and the third tree is your goal where you want to go, with the definition of the final destination and what little you know it must contain. And the second tree is the road there, that you will calibrate the road and it will be filled out with all the discoveries and show what twists and turns you need to make and will be filled in as you make progress towards the final destination. This is a good way to keep track of progress and to map out all the discoveries you make during the journey. You might stumble upon things that might be needed to solve other progresses and other goals. The purpose with this methodology is to get a good overview and to be able to plan strategies for how to proceed and to see what possibilities comes next. To know what you must do in order to succeed in reaching the goal, and to know why you are doing certain steps, so you have greater motivation doing it. Politicians will also utilize generational thinking. It concerns the today existing different generation living on the planet, making sure we all have a good living no matter what generation we belong to. It also concerns the upcoming generations in the future and a careful planning of resources and nature so that our future is secured and safe in its existence. It's how we will coexist today with our future generation in concern at all time. We should always calibrate the nature so that it will last for eternity into infinity. We will always have a responsibility towards the future to come, and we will always make sure that we keep several generations ahead in our calibrations so that we always have plenty of time to adjust and do necessary changes. When our population reaches higher numbers such as 15 or 20 billion and more, it will be out of major importance that we have generational thinking. Loose-end thinking is needed when you path in opposite thinking, especially when you get deep into progress. It's all about making sure you don't have any loose ends in your research and that all ends are followed up so you know if it was the end or discover that it continues leading to other options that might be vital for the progress to continue. We need to know everything about everything and leave nothing to the chance. Directional thinking is also utilized when pathing opposite thinking. It is a way to see what direction you need to take in order to progress further, and to see what directions are left to research in order to complete the pattern of the path. It will be about twists and turns you might not recognize at first, but you will see when putting this kind of methodology at use. Reflective thinking is when you think about what you've been researching or doing and what consequences it has on the progress. It's about gathering a picture about what has happened and see the conclusion of its outcomes. You reflect over the current situation that has been. Reflective thinking is when before you act, you start creating a picture of what you will go through and try to prepare yourself for what is to come. Reflective thinking is when you are in the moment right now, being aware of everything you do in the very moment it happens. Evolutionary thinking is when you plan the future evolutionary paths to take and try to decide what comes first. Even though that might be hard since it all depends on what you discover and in what order it happens. It is also the creational process of imagine new possibilities for us to have in the future and is a vital part of our existence. We should always stimulate our imagination so that we keep having great visions for us to follow. It's about keeping a good overview of current evolutionary progress and making sure we are all on the right track to continue to evolve. It's about planning the order of the updates to the world and the implementation of the updates. Update is the same as evolutionary progress achievement. Relational thinking is about exploring and knowing about all the relation there is here on Earth, but also in universe and in metaverse. There are relations everywhere, and they are constantly changing. It's about learning about your inner force and the calibration lifestyle. You harmonize with the relations in nature and your surroundings and in yourself. You learn about relations everywhere, and you see the dependencies of various matter and how they play together. You imbibe the atmosphere and become a part of all the relations. When you become more advanced, you reach the state of being one with the relations in your surroundings. All these schools, you can become more advanced and go deeper into the different areas. I just explained the foundation of them here. There are more schools as well, but that I save for another time. We will have big fleets of spaceships. In the beginning, we will make larger spaceships that can contain more cargo. We will eventually build big space stations in space to have as platform for longer journeys and work more constant in space with crew there all the time. When we have gotten to build factories and mining facilities on the moon and on Mars, we will start building larger spaceships there that has easier to lift of the planet due to gravitation. Eventually, we will have larger ships that can handle heavier gravitation. And then we will have fast-traveling and really large-scale ships, so-called space cruisers, that we will use to journey out in space. We will become real space explorers and have large amount of population living their life in space. Our research in space technology will grow with time and become a big part of our everyday life. First, we will just explore our solar system and expand on the planets here. We will wait with deep space journey till we have evolved spacecrafts to be fast enough and big enough for us to journey over generations of people living on one and the same ship. Eventually, we will have so fast spaceships that journeying in space will be a breeze compared to early days. When we are experienced space journeymen, we will start exploring our nearest solar system and start utilizing the planets there. We will send out small groups of reconnaissance spacecrafts that will check out unknown areas and scout out routes for us to travel. We will also send out massive fleets that will have the necessary means to start populating and rebuild our civilization on other planets. We will put in system that we have an upgrade squad that will, if we evolve much enough, travel to the locations we have occupied and carry out the update there as well. It will be a hard task to keep everyone up to date, but we will grow with the task and work out systems for it. The larger area we populate, the more effort it will take to keep everyone updated. But at the same time as we expand, we will also advance in progress, so it will go hand in hand. We will develop large planetary scanners that will scan planets and see what kind of raw material, resources, and minerals exist on that planet. We will utilize terraforming in a much greater form than we do today. Terraforming will play a vital part for this planet when we grow in population in big numbers. When the population reaches big enough numbers, terraforming will be out of major importance to us, so we can manage this planet after our needs without depleting it on its resources. Terraforming will also play an important role for us when we want to populate new planets. We will shape and form the planet as good as possible after our needs for a great start for us, but we will have to be careful, so we don't put the planet's natural ecosystem out of balance. We will become masters of nature and all that comes with that. We will be able to reproduce all aspects of nature eventually, and make sure we always have nature enough to provide a new ecosystem to other planets that lacks it. That's one big reason why it is so important we don't destroy our nature today anymore, that we stop making animals extinct and start to take serious responsibility over our planet. We need everything we can get for our future. We need as diverse flora as we can get for our future to come. That's why we need to understand and know everything there is about our nature in every direction possible, so we know how to recreate the nature we have here today. We must see the larger picture of ourselves and have greater visions of tomorrow, so we understand why we must do things and why it's so important we do them. We are this planet's caretaker, and we must shoulder that role sooner than later. When we stumble upon a planet with life already upon it, we don't force our nature to it, but we do the same thing as we did with ours. We explore and learn everything there is about it, and see what new discoveries we get from that, and expand our own flora with this newfound life. Nature is our new God, and its resources should be carefully used and interacted with. The richer our flora of nature is, the richer our life will become, and the more opportunities we will have in the future when we explore universe. We don't know what part of our flora is best suited for different environments we will stumble upon in the future. We will need to tweak and turn on our nature so that it can suit different environments, and we don't know which part of our nature we need to use in order to get the solution for that specific environment. All our nature is out of major importance to us, and we need to have as broad flora as possible for our future to come. We can't afford to lose any more nature. The poorer our flora is, the worse it will be, and the less our possibilities will be to make it in the future. We have no idea what we need to find out or what we will need to create in the future in order for us to make it to the next step, and we must make sure we have as many options as possible so that we always can take many steps enough for us to reach the next step in our evolution. By making the choice to exist in eternity into infinity, we will set the bar high. We will have a must-have goal for us. By doing that, we will create visions of our future to be greater and better than the ones we have today. The visions aid us to understand why we need to do things and why we must maintain nature. It gives us reason and meaning to come together as one and to take the next step in our evolution. Eventually, there will come a day when we stumble upon another life form. As long as they are not more advanced, we will have nothing to worry about, and we will leave them to their own evolution so they too can evolve and take this step to become caretakers of their own planet and their evolutional progress. If they, however, are advanced and space journeymen like us but not peaceful, we must be prepared. We must always have an advanced military even though we live in peace. We are defense only. We don't attack other civilizations. But our defense must always be top-notch. We should always put focus on our military involvement and always make progress within the military field. In the beginning, we need military defense from other hostile countries that can't accept the truth and want to do us harm. There might become some war, but that I don't know and is left to be found out. We will always defend ourselves and our vision. Our purpose is to exist in eternity into infinity, and that's not possible without defense. We should always invest time in research of military technology. When the world is united as one, we will still need the military for more advanced projects and dangerous tasks out in space. Here on Earth, they will help out with rebuilding the new world. The military will keep doing advanced military exercises and train in war situation as if it still was possible to happen. They should always be prepared on that something could happen. Our military should always be top-notch and the very best soldier there ever is. We need military technology for more purposes than the military. We will discover a lot of new areas that will aid us in other areas as well, and that we would not find without the military focus. When we stumble upon other intelligent life form that are hostile, we will defend ourselves, and it's vital that our technology and progress is better than theirs. So, we can fight down the war fast and reach a peace between us. We will not tolerate any other mentality than caretakers of home planet and universe. And we will make that clear to anyone we stumble upon. Dao Buddhism is baseplate here on Earth, but also in universe. Our goal is to unite and become an equally different part of each other's existence, to coexist and harmonize with each other, and learn everything there is about each other so we can all be a unified coexistence. Universe belongs to no one. We are all an equal part of universe, as well as universe is part of us. Universe is for the more advanced life forms that lives in harmony, and that has discovered that peace is a far better engine than war is for any species. We are not alone in universe. Universe is so big it goes on forever in eternity into infinity. We have no idea how many big bangs that has taken place in universe. If it is big bangs that creates a part of universe, the chances that we are alone are quite slim. We will always take the role as the bigger person. We will always aid the weaker ones. Peace is a far better engine than war when it comes to evolutionary progress. It's much better to have 10 billion people working together rather than to have a few destroying each other, racing in who can be the worst in destruction. It's a very destructive behavior and costs a lot of time and resources to rebuild what has been destroyed in between wars. It belongs to the past and is no longer a valid option. War is for the weak and narrow-minded person. When we are united and live in the new world, we will have higher education for all of us, meaning there will be more people that will contribute to our progress with their knowledge. Rather than to have a few that contributes to our evolutionary progress, we will have billions of people working together to achieve advancement in our evolutionary progress. We will have so much more options and possibilities than we have today. We will become more than 1,000 times stronger and advanced by living as a unified mass working together to reach advancement in our progress. The way we live today is old and jaded. It is self-destructive, and it slows the progress massively in comparison to the new world and its coexistence. By having peace and unity, we will have the chance to coordinate this planet's resources so it will always match the size of the population, something that is not possible in the world of today when the population gets big enough. We will benefit from having billions of minds exploring and researching new possibilities rather than a few millions as it is today. We will raise as a civilization and become superior in our existence. The world of today will look like a joke to us compared to the way we will live then. This is the final test for us as human species. This is the final step for us to take before we will live in a free world in peace with each other. This is the step that will make us the superior species that we truly are, shouldering the role of being caretakers of life and peace. This is the step that finalizes our journey as a primitive species and raised to a higher form of civilization. We will all live our own life doing different things. It's not like we will be strained to only think one way. On the contrary, we will fuel our diversity and always amend our individuality, but we will have a common foundation and a common vision that will unite us all. Our life standards will be so much greater than today, and the further we get into the future, the better it will be for us. When we live with a quota system, we will have better possibilities to build more buildings with homes, and we will have no problem with electricity since we will, during the startup phase, make sure our world has enough production for the entire world by expanding our energy production. So we always have enough. We will invest much more resources in the beginning in order to have all the needed infrastructure in place. It will be a time of rebuilding the world to fit our future to come. Instead of lacking funds to do what's needed, we will give grace and let all of us do what's needed in order to have everything in place for the new world to start. We will invest a lot of time and resources into energy production and its different possibilities. We need to be able to grow with our energy since we are moving away from fossil fuels to electricity. We will utilize nuclear power as much as needed, but we will invest a lot in solar, wind, and water energy. We must balance the different energy resources so we can care about the planet as much as possible. We will put heavy focus on research and energy so that we can grow with the growing population. In the beginning, it will be preparation and planning for the new world to come so that everything is placed for the new world order. It will take some time to get everything in place and to adjust to the new way of living, but it's not a problem to achieve that goal. When we do the preparation, we will still live in a world of money. But it will be our money, so we can make sure everything is doable by adjusting prices and economy. The future will be about maintaining natural resources and planning after their limits. We will have a grace period with our economy during the build-up phase. Most is already in place, and there will be small and big adjustments in different areas. The different adjustments will all depend on which countries that will join this venture in the beginning. We won't do this change until many countries enough is on board with it. We need to make sure we are self-sufficient in all areas of existence before we can go ahead and enter the new world. This is a process that will take time, and when this will actually happen is hard to tell, maybe in a few years or 50 years or 100 years or maybe longer. Only thing I know for sure is that we must make this choice in order to exist in eternity into infinity. This is the natural step for us to take now. That's where we are in our evolution and the beginning of a new era. Everything is already in place, and the adjustments needed are only so that we are sufficient for us to have as great life standard as possible. There is no reason to do this if we won't have a good life enough. We need to be thorough when calibrating our minimum needs in order to start this progress. Patience will be our friend, and we will let it take the time it needs in order to start this progress. The adjustment in our lives may look big now, but when you look in the whole picture, and from the future, it's no big deal at all. That's easy for me to say, haha. Truth is, the change will be completely mind-blowing for some people and will turn their life upside down the way they live today. It's all about how conservative they are. Many will struggle with Dao Buddhism as the new normality norm, but that's because we are going through a change that is similar to when Earth once was flat. This is totally necessary for us to come together as one and to have the same base plate with the truth as it is, and not as you think it is. In fact, this new world picture will improve your life quality a lot just the way it is without any external changes to the world. To explain how things will be done in the new world, I'll share this. One planet, one nation, one currency, one timeline, one law, and one language. Don't forget that. It will happen sooner or later, and we happen to live in the time era when it's about to happen. No matter when it happens, the very same issues will remain. The new systems need to be developed and investigated truly. The elections will be worldwide. We will all have to learn the new language. We will all have to adjust our currency so that we all have the same. Our economy system needs to be redefined in order for it to work properly. And while we are on those steps, we might as well let all nations' universities cooperate and compete in developing as smart financially system we can get. given the base variable opportunity of life to use as baseline for it. We are all familiar with the concept of TV shows like So You Think You Can Dance and Idol. So, we can easily make those contest seasonal TV shows with mixed entertainment and progress shows, where all the people can call and vote for suggestions, and then when each country has chosen their best solution that they will send to final that will go the year after it's done, all countries presents their solution. Very much like the Eurovision Song Contest. Only this is about our own planet's directions in our lives. In this type of communication, the first season or year, depending on what we all agree upon, we will have created over 195 different solutions of ecosystems of finance, in an opposite to weakest link choice of a primal solution to erase that bit. We chose the more sophisticated way and improves that area if there is a chance that is. We will then, during the entire season, combine and work out solutions containing the most necessary variables that we expect out of this kind of solution, and we don't quit until we all have contributed with a complete ecosystem for finance, utilizing every university and professor and expertise in relation to the specific ecosystem. Same goes for suggestion and creation of the ecosystem of language. The result is that all of a sudden we will have about 200 choices, and from those 200 suggestions we will be able to choose and rebuild them into 10 superior solutions over the next season/year, depending on what reality is like. These 10 superior ecosystems will then be the new base for what is to become our most possible advanced civilization that has ever existed within one single ultimate ecosystem of finance, one ultimate ecosystem of communication, one ultimate, awesome, erotic, wonderful, high-tech existence as protectors and caretakers of life. The contest will have rules that states that to be a valid proposal, it must contain a step-by-step guide in how to move from the point we are at today, what the goal is, and what the steps are to take in order to get there. It must contain a valid time estimation on how long time the different steps might take. It must also contain the need and employment sources as well as an estimation and a perfectly well-planned financial plan, and that includes the following cornerstones: costs and possibilities and resources, as in hardware, software, and employment. This must also be in relation to the base opportunity of life and our evolutionary timeline. The goal and God must always be the very foundation of our existence, for the opportunity of life with us in it. To see this planet as a part of our basic needs in continuance of existence. Some of the times it won't be possible to have each nation come with solutions because the topic is too specific in requirements that only a few countries can contribute. And sometimes it's just a simple choice we have to make. The situation will vary, but the main concept is there. In a near future, we have to solve the Sweetwater situation. We have to come up with ways to produce it so there is enough for our crowded population. Today there is enough, but already now there is lack or water supply in dry periods in different parts of the world in different areas of each country. Now we can solve that problem, but when we grow big enough in population, there will be more serious problem for us. We must come up with different solutions to produce water for us to use, and that in very large quantities. Our solutions here on Earth will aid us on new planets as well, and there we will develop it even further and then take in use here on Earth and so on. It's a spiral of development that we will experience in the future. When we have populated other planets, there will be several civilizations that contributes to our evolutionary progress, and we will focus on different areas on different planets. Of course, we will have our domestic areas to focus on, but we will also have a shared agenda where we coordinate our area of expertise and what we shall focus on. The more we expand, the more advanced we will become. The true power of one unity will not show its true power until we have expanded much enough. The more we become, the greater the combined power will be. In the beginning, we will notice big changes in progress, but it's nothing compared to what the future beholds for us. But in the future, our evolutionary steps will take longer and longer times and require more and more out of us, so it will be needed that we have one unity. One unity does not only fill its purpose in the today's world, but it does so throughout eternity into infinity. When we meet other civilizations, we will unite with them as well and share our knowledge with each other and coexist. Even if we keep to our own parts of universe, we are no stranger to each other. We will still allow other species to follow their own natural evolution and not interfere with each other's directional progress. We will represent mutual respect and have a humble approach towards alien species, providing they are peaceful-minded. We will create other animal life forms and also update ourselves. But there is no need for us to create another alpha race. We are the alpha race on this planet, and that will do for a very long time. The reason I say it will do for a very long time is that we can't exclude that at some point we reach a point where we have no other choice but to create an alpha race. But that will be very far in the future and won't be necessary for a very long time. We don't know what the future holds before us, and therefore we can't exclude any options. We must shoulder a major responsibility and see beyond what we understand today. We can't keep denying who we are and what our purpose is. We must shoulder our natural role of being the alpha race on this planet and start taking the responsibilities we have for real. We have to learn everything there is about all animals that exist as well as non-existent animals. There is infinite number of combinations that can exist, and we must learn about them all. We are caretakers and maintainers of nature and must know how to reproduce all of the animals there is. We will stumble upon situations where we need to invent and create the animal from scratch in order for the animal to fit the new environment or in order for us to be able to harvest something that's vital for our existence. Animals that can be a life changer for either nature itself or us as human species. Some environments will be so harsh it requires us to create a completely new flora of life, both nature and animals, for the planet to flourish. But it's not only animals we need to know everything about, we have to know everything about our insects and bugs with all the functionality they have and what roles they play for nature to continue to exist. We can't neglect anything on this planet for our future to be. There will be a time when we have so advanced plants, they will live a life like us and be able to communicate just like we do. There is no end to possibilities, and we will have to explore them all. We must capture the natural reproduction of all nature, so we can reproduce them in as many ways as possible. As I said before, we will never know what the future holds before us, and there is no end to the possible scenarios that we will stand before in our evolutionary progress. We also have no idea what universe holds before us in the future, and what kind of evolutionary progress we need to have accomplished in order to move forward and continue explore its never-ending space. The value of having a world with a united vision is massive. It's important to understand why that is. Since the beginning of our time, we have created ourselves from our visions and dreams. Our dreams are what makes us take another step in our evolution. Because of our visions, we are able to create or invent the necessary things for us to take the next step. Because of our visions and dreams, we keep trying until we make it, no matter how long time it takes and how many times we need to fail before we make it come true. Throughout time, different world pictures have set the bar on our life standards. In the beginning, we used several gods to explain what we did not understand with the nature's different phenomenon. The world has been flat, and even today there are a few that claims that the world is flat. Even though religions have been strong and world pictures has been established, there has always been people seeking out the truth that has dared to question the normality norms of today in their time.